front Taunton every day for about 2 years, on every team call as well. Jenna and I do some podcasts together. Kevin and I talk every other day on consolidations, in one way or another, so it's really nice to get here in business. I'm Tyler Caskey, I'm a chartered accountant. I run a company called the Bean Accountants. We're a team of 8, about to be 9. Mostly ex-CFOs, but a few system consultants, a few accountants, and a few Power BI engineers. We really try to help businesses in this interesting space between, business and their tax accountants to make sure that, when the numbers get to the accountants at the end of the year or quarterly or monthly, they're really clean. My background, I started business services at Deloitte and KPMG. I started on Banklink, which was honestly one of the most beautiful systems around back then. I still remember a firm in Christchurch that was like, oh my God, the partner takes $200,000 a year and she only uses Banklink. And I was like, that sounds pretty nice. I'm like $31,000 a year when I was a grad. But I did 12, 13 years of business partner, commercial manager, financial controller, and CFO roles. And I saw this big swell in the market where systems were starting to create a distinguished difference between businesses that were like using good systems and ones that weren't. And I still see it today. Yesterday I worked with Angus Australia, like a not-for-profit organization. Every single transaction is manually entered. And I'm talking from payroll to every single bank transaction. And they're screaming to try to get onto a better product. For the last 4 years, I've been either working in a consulting business or doing outsourced CFO. And we really just help accounting firms, move on to better stacks, but our bread and butter is helping people, move safely from one system to another. And when you do that, we recently did like a 37 entity group pet hotel, and through that, they immediately go, oh, we also consolidate and we need to deliver quarterly reports to the bank. So, what do we do on that case? Like, we start having a look in the consolidation apps and try to move them with Excel. One of the ones I'm going to take you through today is a really simple example of how someone in practice that is doing compliance work, that is doing good advisory work, you could be, auditors can do this, anyone can really do this, is about knowing enough to be dangerous when a client comes to you with a problem. The client I'm going to take you through, we're going to call restaurant group, but it's a real group. There's 4 restaurants, 1 head office, there's a couple under the bridge over here in Brisbane. Fantastic food, high end, really, really good. They were on NetSuite, and I'm not against NetSuite, I think it's a fantastic product for the right business, but they were on day 20 month end. And in a world of reporting hell, the owner, looking over 5 businesses, didn't know his group profit. He didn't really have good touch on, how much he was spending on a daily basis. Everything was slow and painful. And the accountants that put him on NetSuite, I'd say probably didn't know enough about the Xero suite to say, hey, maybe the Xero suite can make this a little bit faster. So their tax accountant took this client and onboarded them onto their firm. And before he even signed them up, he gave me a call and he was like, Tyler, I want to have a chat about seeing if we can optimize this client. They were already using Employment Hero, which was, I think one of the best HR and payroll systems in Australia. And they had some other good products. They're using Lightyear AP in a couple of their businesses, but not all. They were using Cooking the Books, which sometimes connects to Xero, but sometimes kicks itself out as well. So they had some pretty disjointed functions. And they just hired a new CFO, and he was ex-hotel and loved big systems. And his words were, Xero's way too small for this big company. I'm working for a $40 million company. There's no way. And I was like, I bet you could. I didn't push it. And so we had the initial chat with the client. We just listened. And what I heard was slow reporting. There was no bank feeds. Every transaction's being manually done. And people just didn't know where the business was going. So it took about, with 5 companies, with a manual setup in Xero, it took the best case of like 4 months to get them across, plus everything integrated. But in that circumstance, we really listened to what the client needed. So right at the front, I asked the owner, what do you want? Like, what do you want to see? He goes, I want to be able to access the system. You'd be surprised at how many CEOs just want the ability to look at what their salary and wages were for last month. Where he didn't have access to NetSuite. They wanted, revenue per table. They wanted revenue per seating, be it lunch versus dinner, these types of things. So we were like, okay, Xero can totally fit. We sold the wins of Xero, but then we also sold the wins of consolidations. In this company, they went with Fathom, but they're also doing a whole bunch of other cool integrations as well. One of the ones I love, their subscriptions cost dropped by 50%. Right? Now, NetSuite is a per user license business. So to get full transparency, if we're a whole business using NetSuite, everyone either has to have a full user or a half user kind of requirement or fee. The thing I love about Xero and a lot of these apps is they're per company. So you can have 100 users on it, you can have 50 users on it, and you don't get charged more. So I think about that a lot when I'm understanding a client's pain points. Within 4 months, the CFO got their month end down to day 3. And it wasn't hard. He was pretty reluctant in the first kind of couple months. Then after a while, he's like, I get it. It was easier for him to run a P&L. He had automatic intercompany eliminations in Fathom. And the one I loved was the integrations between supplier bills and how easy it was to integrate. We integrated one employment hero with 4 employing entities, and then automatically posted payroll bills throughout the Xero suite. The old accountants in NetSuite have been trying to automate NetSuite Employment Hero into NetSuite for 2 years and hadn't done it because it had multiple employing entities, but in one Employment Hero setting. So the ease of the way you can slice and dice integrations in Xero is really cool. And the other one that comes up a lot in these things is, we're a big business, we're too big for Xero. And I'm sure everyone in the room's heard that. And it really comes down to transaction limits for me. The user access is definitely, say, less than NetSuite. NetSuite might have 100 dot points you can have. We know Xero's got 4, read-only, invoice, standard, advisor with a few other ticks, right? But I really look at the transaction volumes of a business. And for a restaurant, they don't need any accounts receivable. All they need is a daily sweep of point of sale and then any other little sales they have. So they were nowhere near the invoices. Each entity had about 365 point of sale system transactions per year, right? Plus, a couple hundred invoices per month. So well under the limit. And Xero just absolutely hummed for this business. That's probably still my favorite stack that we've ever done. I asked the owner if he wanted to be named in this, and he's just a silent killer. He goes, I'm just a shit, I don't know anything about systems. I'm like, sure. So this slide, I want to talk about how to listen to one of your clients and see if there's an opportunity for you to help. And I use this term with my team, know enough to be dangerous. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know the opportunities. So I always look at if they've got pain points. I listen for a client, if you've got a financial controller or a CFO that's like, oh, my month end sucks. I just can't get the billing out. I'm just like, why? What's holding it up? And it might be oh, Holly always does her bills too late. Why does Holly do her bills too late? She can never log in. Okay, cool. Why can't Holly log in? And then Holly's remote access, she's going through a wormhole. She's all these things we know as accountants because we're logging into 10 to 15 systems every single day. You can start having these really good questions. You don't have to know the answers, you've just got to know the questions. And the 2 that I'm really interested in are head office allocations. I have been doing overhead allocation journals every single month since 2004. Who does an overhead allocation journal every month at the moment? Anyone? Yeah? No? No one's doing a support across divisions? Yeah. For multi-companies or for one company?
Multi-company.
Nice. Have you ever did you try the 0 to 0 invoices before?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that was pretty good. I did like it. So that journal is always the one that like costs me a bit of time. And the big one here is about group expense controls for me. I'm a big fan of like duplicate invoice testing, of making sure across the business that if it's more than $10,000, Holly can approve it. If it's more than $100,000, Ryan needs to approve it. There's really good systems like ProSpend that can look across multiple entity groups that can detect duplicate invoices and have controls across a whole group of systems. And something like ProSpend, which does connect to say Microsoft and NetSuite, is really this market leader in good expense controls. And then I look here at like, what's the optimal solution? So for me, if we were talking about what Xero was like, I always think about ease of use, right? We think about why the iPhone has been so popular. You know, I give my mum a new iPhone about every 2 years, and I never had to train my mum, right? Like she just kind of figured it out. Like sure, she probably forgot her password a few times or the Wi-Fi, but it's another enjoyable 2 hours of my life. I think there's an Instagram clip on that too. I look at like how efficient a business can be, and the sniff test for me is everything. So I remember looking at a payroll system in 2021. I logged in. It was a hard login process. It errored. I couldn't quite figure out the ribbons on the left and right. It had confusing wording. I won't name the product, but it like immediately I knew there was kind of pretty rough programming here. And if I found it difficult as someone who lives and breathes tech every day, and I bet you everyone today is probably logged into at least 5, maybe 10 systems. You've got a good understanding of what is intuitive and what isn't. So I'm very careful to not recommend unintuitive products to my clients. You know, so if you can't easily do like a journal in the system, or even find where to do a journal, that's going to mean a new grad or a new financial accountant coming in might not know as well. And then the other one I'm interested in here is like, encourage your team to go to webinars. So the fact that you guys are here is a fantastic step. To me, I'm a big fan of my team always going to webinars. Ryan, I think, how often do you guys run a Dashboard Insights webinar?
2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that to me is like such a good opportunity to know a system for free, right? You usually run them like 11, 12, 1 during the day?
Yeah, usually 45 minutes and different topic every time.
Yeah, and I've gone to Fathom, I've gone to webinars, I've gone to, Kevin and I met because he was doing a webinar on data science. You know, like all these types of things, we're very good at making sure we do our CPD. I always also think, make sure our accountants stay up to date with what is good tech as well. And I'm not just talking Xero apps, like I really think we should know enough to be dangerous in Microsoft and NetSuite and all the big systems as well. So this one for me is if I had a 5-step process in how to help your client improve their systems, because if you help them, they usually become a bit stickier to you. And also, we can charge for those services as well. Like, you don't have to be able to do everything, but what was your name, Matt? We just met. Adam. Adam does inventory management installations for 77 Corp. I was pitching one this morning. I'm not great at doing inventory management installations, and also I don't personally love them. However, all I need to know is Adam's number. Hey, can you do it? Can I kind of help project manage that? So what I really think about here is like, after you've listened to the pain points of your clients, see if they've got like an appetite for change. Like, talk to the oldest bookkeeper, talk to the youngest accountant, talk to the CEO, see how much that person and that business is like, hey, we're ready. And we all know the client, like, that calls you up and goes, I need to be on a new payroll system in 4 days. You're like, we've all had those calls. I do a lot of research. Like, you can learn so much from the App Store. You can do so many trials. It's so easy to get in touch for these systems. I watch a lot of YouTube. Like, I speed through everything because it drives me crazy how long they are. But like, I was looking at a Power BI thing the other day, and I just got to the 23-minute mark, and I was like, oh, that's bang on. And then this is where you can add value to your clients. So for clients like, hey, I want to do consolidations, you might come back to them and go, oh, we've got data sets, we've got translucence, we've got dashboard insights. we've got Fathom, here's the one I think we should use, or here's the one I know, also maybe we should do them together. But then this one is you've got this opportunity. I sit in every demo with my clients. You've got an opportunity to help them ask questions because no one wants to be sold to. And the biggest nerve point for any client is they're going to be sold a lemon. So if you're on their side and go, actually come back to that point. Why was this? Does that actually work? How well does it connect to Xero? Okay. This one for me is about how to look at when a client could and would should move to a large ERP versus staying on the Xero apps. Now, I know from experience that if you're an automated client on the Xero App Store, I can pretty much guarantee I will be 30 to 40% faster than any company on any one of these five. I'll be able to close the month-end books within a day. I'll streamline the accounts payable faster. I'll automate the consolidations faster. I'll be able to absolutely nail that kind of process. However, there are really good reasons to use NetSuite and Sage Intacct. We just came off a 8-country Sage Intacct install. I look at transaction volumes as well. So if you're a multi-company, multi-country, multi-currency, multi-language, absolutely look at these. If you haven't heard of Odoo before, fantastic product out of Belgium, cloud-based, really nice. However, as soon as you go outside of the Xero App Store, it gets harder. Like it's harder to integrate. It's more expensive. Your consultants go from $100 an hour to $500 an hour. It's a much more structured kind of program. However, there are some really good opportunities here for high volume single entities or global entities. Don't shy away from them, but just know that you can do a lot in the Xero App Store. Jack and I have done 25 entities, we've done 37 entities in Xero, and they are absolutely humming as a group with like one CFO or financial controller. And my last slide is, has anyone done a tarot card reading lately? No, you sure there wasn't a hand? No.
Just tea leaves.
Tea leaves will do. So I had a tarot card reading in 2004. And it's about visuals. So people resonate with things they can touch. We all know we've said, Andrew, we met at Hall Chadwick, right? I think. How many board meetings have you been around and you hand over a piece of paper and people are just staring at that piece of paper, right? We like visuals, we like knowing that everyone's looking at the same thing. If I'm in a sit-down board meeting, I'll print this off and I'll walk it around the room. If I'm in a Teams meeting, I'll have this ready to flash up. And all this does is simplifies in people's minds something that they can talk about. And they're like, oh, why does that say bill and not journal? You go, because Employment Hero can produce a bill. What is loan balancing? And they're like, oh, that means your intercompany loan balancing can happen. And they're like, how good is the onboarding? So by having little visuals in there, and it doesn't have this has taken me 5-6 years to try to get this pretty, and you would have hated to see my first versions. Like they were ugly. But you can put a few logos on a PowerPoint doc and have a chat with a client. This might take you 40 minutes, but it's a good way to foster a really positive conversation and then really help your clients understand what are the possibilities in the Xero App Store. I will call out one last thing. There are some really cool interactions here with like Lightyear AP and Lightspeed. I worked in Europe this winter. I would say 90% of the point of sale systems I used in Europe were all Lightspeed. There is something, this business is getting absolutely huge, and it's getting heavy into the inventory market as well, pretty much blowing up. And this one, if anyone hasn't used Lightyear AP, if you're has anyone got like restaurant clients? Like anyone, yeah? Like one restaurant, 2, 3? Just one. Just one? This is an absolutely amazing system at like tracking. If you purchase order for $13 for chicken, and it comes in at $15, you can flag that automatically as red. Like those types of little integrations there.
Does it update Lightspeed to that code? Because a lot of those systems will do it independently and not put it back into the inventory build.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I do love that. So Approval Max and Sin 7 are getting close on that.
Yeah.
But no, Lightspeed actually unfortunately is still like,
Yeah.
it's still a
I've
standalone.
been pushing for years for it. So Easy Bills is the only one that does it with Sim 7.
Easy Bills does it now with Work Driven too. Tony's
Yeah.
yeah.
Tony's playing cricket.
Excellent. That is my 17 minutes on Xero app stores and all the fun things. Thank you.